everybody. Welcome back to the Youtini Show, live for the second week in a row. It's Eric, Corey, and Wes bringing you all the Star Wars you need in one spot. And tonight, we are going over our reactions to the Skeleton Crew finale. Neel's species has finally been revealed along with Jod's potential master. We might know a little bit about the main villain of the Mandalorian and Grogu, and Cavan Scott talks about the end of the High Republic initiative. But of course, there's no better place to start tonight than at the end. That's right. Last week, we saw the finale of Skeleton Crew, and while not all of our predictions, or any of them from last week, really came true, the fandom did seem to agree that they absolutely loved it. But let's see what we thought. Corey, let's just rip the Band-Aid off here at the top. What did you think of the Skeleton Crew finale?
Good question. I enjoyed the Skeleton Crew finale a lot. I think the show continues to be one of the greats. It's as good as, maybe not quite as good as Andor, but it's up there for sure. I loved it. Honestly, I loved it. It was a gut punch. It was nice to, spoiler alert, of course. Nice to see.
Spoilers for everything.
Yes, exactly. Nice to see a villain get to be a villain, right? Like,
yes.
And so yeah, big fan of Skeleton Crew for sure.
Yeah, I mean, same here. I was talking to some folks afterwards, and I kind of unequivocally gave it a 10 out of 10 episode. It was my favorite episode of the season. It hit every bar I had, because I didn't really go into it with a lot of check boxes that I needed, but man, I just enjoyed every single moment. Same as you, I was so glad that Jod got to stay a villain. I was frankly surprised they let it go. To the end, I thought there would be the moment where they couldn't help themselves, but they just straight up told us this whole time, no, he's a pirate. No, he's a pirate. Guys, he's a pirate. And we're like, no, he's a good guy. I was like, nah, man.
I'm shocked they did it, but they did. I know.
Yeah. And it looked phenomenal. I thought the effects, the writing of it all just was a really great episode of television. Wes, you going to make us go 3 for 3?
Yes, I thought it was fantastic. Awesome. I did like that we got the reveal of kind of how Jod had received his Jedi training.
Yeah.
He said he got a little bit, and he had a little bit of backstory as well. I'm glad we got that. I heard about, it's like there was no big reveals. Is everybody happy that there wasn't big reveals, or there wasn't main characters that came in and added to the story at the very end? And I was like, we kind of did. Like I went nuts when I saw the Tantive 4 at the very end. I was like, that's
no one's talking about that.
That's all.
Tantive.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
So, yeah, I thought it was a great ending, and it can either be done or it could be a season 2. It could be either or, because we don't really know what happened to Jod. I mean, he just stood there and was like, I'm in big trouble. But
yeah,
catch me
if
you can.
Let's go straight to that. Let's have a little fun. Like the ending of that was so great. That moment where, first of all, you get the behind shot of him just walking to the glass, which was great, and then that little smirk that he has watching the ship go down. What do you think? What do you think happened to Jod? Because we might never get another season. It's fine if we don't. I hope we do. But what do you think happened?
I really don't think we'll get another seation. We should speculate about that after we're done with this, though.
Yes.
But I don't know. That's a really good question. I would not be surprised if he escapes. I guess ships can come and go now from this planet. So
yeah, barrier's gone.
But there's not a lot of ships to steal at the same time.
Right.
So, you ever thought about that before? Actually, if there's a planet in Star Wars and like a ship crash lands on it, like and there's no other ships, there's no civilization on that planet, you're like stuck there. Possibly
that's where you live.
Yeah. For generations, actually.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole planet Earth situation until you figure out how to build that technology again.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a mind blower.
Yeah, you got to make fire, and then you got to go from there. You got to feed yourself, shelter, and you got to start
somewhere in there. Comes along the invention of the wheel, and then there's the whole Bronze Age. That's a whole thing, and just goes from there.
And at some point, you get Avatar: The Way of Water. Like I don't know how you get from wheel.
That's right.
That's like what, man? If I could time travel back in the day with just an iPhone, I'd be king of the world. Like, no, when the battery would die and you'd die of plague. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you would absolutely not be able to conquer it. But I think that Jod, in my mind, I think he immediately lets the kids go. Wim gives him that really heartfelt, like, Jod, come with us kind of thing. I think he was giving him an option, and I think that Jod watches the ship go down. He grabs a fistful of credits or something, and then goes down and like pretends to be a refugee of like, oh God, the pirates! I'm so glad we're okay. And then he he's going to be a little refuge. He's going to fit in. Because the only people that saw him were the
You
kids
get
and their
that vibe.
parents. No one else
Right.
knows his face. And then I think he gets a new name. Off he goes. And I think he's a pirate of legend.
You don't think maybe that they have him work for the Mint, but as a fraud detector now, like in Catch Me If You Can. So
I was
like
gonna say, Frank Abagnale.
yeah, you're just like, all right, we're not gonna let you go, but you have to work for us now.
How
I
can
think
you
we're gonna
tell
get-
this is a real credit.
I think we're gonna get the whole thing where they're gonna like string up the hangman's noose and they're gonna play the drums and there's gonna be a beautiful woman and she's gonna pretend to faint and then the ship's just gonna be like out there, it's gonna be floating and
Yes.
yeah.
Why not?
You'll always remember this, the day you almost caught Captain Silvo.
It's just
The end of
the four
That's
big
it.
ha's.
Perfect.
right.
There's so many places they can go with him, and he's so now. We do have to think about the season 2 because I think they ended it in a really good way. It's a full story. Wim looks up. I think he's like, I want to be a pilot. Jod's gonna get away. Ad-Atten joins the universe, but the story of the kids leaving home and then getting back home is finished. It's a complete story. And I was like,
Yep.
I really love that they did that.
I appreciate that massively, by the way. The fact that we just like
You've
had a
wanted that
wholly
for
written-
years, bro.
Yes, just write a good story from end to end. Like, I don't know. You have to write the whole thing. If you're planning on the show
Yes.
being
Yes.
3 seasons, you need to write a story that works across 3 seasons with 3 gigantic arcs through all of those things. So at least you have that happen, right? And like
Yep.
Andor. That's why Andor works so well, is because like there's
Yep.
a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? So I don't know. I've been watching Ted Lasso this week. I finally jumped on board with Ted Lasso. I know I'm like 5 years late to
So
the,
good,
to the
though.
train.
I haven't started yet. You're before I am.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. I'm somehow not surprised at all by that, Wes. But like Ted Lasso season 1 is amazing. Ted Lasso season 2, not as good. Not as good. And it seems like so many shows suffer from that. Like, season 1 just goes off really well and it's like surprise success and we don't really know how to go from there, and we write a less good second or third season until it sort of tapers off, and everyone talks about how the show was a failure, right? Like in the end, because it didn't work. But season 1 was amazing, but the last season was not great. Game of Thrones, like it's happened over and over again, right? So, I really appreciated seeing a well-written TV show that existed in the Star Wars universe that can just stand on its own. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll revisit this one. This is one of those that I think it's like a full yet kind of bite-sized tale of really good episodes that are well made, feel good, and you get a good pirate adventure. I think that they make it so, who knows? Do we get pilot Captain Wim shows up in the background of a book, like how in the Resistance Reborn, or no, the Rise of Skywalker novelization, they threw in like, I think Thane Kyrell was there, and like Alphabet Squadron was there at the end of Exegol, like that kind of
That's
thing. You
right.
can just throw them in. That's greater. Oh, did you hear about Captain Silvo is over in the planets?
Mhm.
Do that kind of thing. Let them expand the universe without necessarily needing to make sure you book Jude Law again for 8 episodes and needing
I
to make
know.
sure all these kids are available.
For sure.
But they kind of want to, because if y'all didn't see, this week over on Instagram, Ravi Kabakanyers, who played Wim, did post a really sweet Instagram message. He put a picture of himself as a baby in a Star Wars shirt, which was adorable. Obviously, he didn't take the selfie. He was a child. But his parents took a picture of him in a Star Wars shirt, and he wrote this really nice post about loving the support for Skeleton Crew. And he did say, quote, "I hope my extraordinary crew will be back together again in the future so we can inject a little adventure and intrigue into your life once a week."
I like it.
I mean, he's down, and honestly, really well worded. Ravi, we know you're watching the show. Great job. That's how you do it, man. You just say, "I'd love to. We'd all be down. Ball's in your court." Like, I really
know.
think that's a great way to do
I
it.
know.
I don't know. Do you guys
There's
think
no
we
way.
have-
There's no way it's gonna happen though, right?
You don't think
like
so?
real talk.
Have we underestimated
so.
or overestimated how much the numbers are a factor
I
in all this.
didn't the numbers come like somebody said something about the numbers like last week actually didn't that
Yeah, it never hit the Nielsen top 10 is the problem. So we don't know the numbers, but Accolade at least hit it week 1 and then kind of got close in the finale. Skeleton Crew just never came close to hitting the top 10.
So we know it did somehow much worse than the Acolyte, which is not great, right?
Which is the worst performing. Andor might be slightly worse performing, but I don't remember.
No, Andor was the worst before this, and Acolyte did worse than Andor, and then
so Skeleton Crew performed the worst.
So this is now in a lot of is it just top 10 of the week though? Isn't that what that Nelson is?
Yeah.
Though?
So you got to hit the top 10 the week that it comes out.
It has that has nothing to do with numbers then, right? Then not then technically.
Technically. It's like assumptions and based on
because if the other 9 shows like had crazy numbers, then that you wouldn't.
Sure.
But
I don't really keep up much with like the new TV shows that come out, but is it rare to have just one season of a streaming show? Like the Netflix, they really only have one season for some of their shows that they have. Because
funny you should ask, Wes. they say they won't, but they do cancel a lot of stuff nowadays.
Okay,
that's their problem.
Yeah,
but I did see that the budget is way lower. This budget is like apparently like half of what Acolyte was.
Yeah, right.
Which also.
That's what we want.
Listen.
That's what we want. It was better looking. It was better written. It was better acted.
We enjoyed
the
Acolyte.
Half as much money. That's a freaking win.
Where's the
freaking
win?
Who was
embezzling the funds?
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe they spent a lot on choreography and like training because the fight scenes in the Acolyte were awesome. What?
It's not $100 million of choreography.
Come on. It looked really good.
They did look amazing. But like there were pirates coming out of the sky. That massive ship was on fire, crashing into the ground. The whole crashing into the school. Like that's expensive set pieces in the skeleton.
It's got a.
I can make that in Blender.
Okay. All right. Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew. Something else we haven't really mentioned, Eric, is just the reviews kind of across the board because we put together our roundup for Skeleton Crew pretty recently, and now it's finalized. Youtini has its official review of the show on here. We gave Skeleton Crew as a whole an incredible rating, which is our second highest rating. I think Andor is probably the only show I think that's got that masterpiece right now, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, it is. The show had a 7.2 on IMDb, a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 72 Metascore. That's like those are solid numbers. Like my
very
personal
good television show rating.
I'm curious to hear this about for you, Eric. My personal rule of thumb is I will watch anything that is greater than a 7 on IMDb. Literally anything, and I know I will probably enjoy it. That's a hard rule for me. Do you have anything like that?
I have it for Rotten Tomatoes, honestly, more so because IMDb is like so purely fan numbers.
That's true.
So like,
that's true.
It's hard to tell. They're usually pretty good though. IMDb is actually a much more harsh critic. I find Breaking Bad is better. A 9, but that's about it.
Now that you mention it, it is only that way for like older stuff that is like highly reviewed. Modern stuff is less the case because review bombs and all that crap. But I don't think the show suffered from it as bad as like the Acolyte did though.
No, not even close. And I think that there's very clear reasons why it didn't get the same stuff. But personally though, Rotten Tomatoes, if it's like 80 and above, I really like. For TV, honestly, a lot of stuff does go 90 and above nowadays. I think that a lot of people know what their audiences are going to like. So before something gets to an HBO or gets to Netflix or gets to Apple, it's been cultivated enough to get on screen. Whereas movies are it's a lot easier to make a crap movie, I feel, because you're like, we'll try it. It's 90 minutes. What could go wrong?
Holy smokes. The Acolyte is a 4.1 on IMDb and a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. So 78 is still solid. Absolutely. Of course.
Certified fresh, like more people like it than don't, mostly. And I think Skeleton Crew pretty consistently stayed really high. The same people that liked it. I think the hardest part about Skeleton Crew going forward is going to be convincing new people that didn't watch it to start it. I think it's going to be a hard pitch to be like, hey, watch the show. Is there a second season? No. Well, I've seen Mandalorian in it? No.
I've seen a lot of conversations on Reddit about that very topic. And I saw a lot of people say they're waiting to watch it so they can binge. We've talked about that already.
Lie. That's like saying, put it on my list. No, there's no list. No one has a list. Okay? Like, we're all lying.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that's good. Oh yeah. It's like Wes. Okay, what is it? January 2026. Ask Wes if he's watched Ted Lasso. Everybody, okay?
Listen, it's on my list. I got all kinds of things I got to watch.
It's on my list.
I have to
it's
start.
on the list.
I have to start my Marvel rewatch with what's the first one? Iron Man. It's gonna take
You'll
me,
finish that
it's
in
gonna
like
take me a little bit.
2028. All right, that sounds good.
Meanwhile, catch
right.
Wes streaming Call of Duty Monday to Friday. 6 p.m.
We're not doing anything in about 45 minutes. No.
Yeah, I like it though. I like what they did. I hope that it gets some traction for people that are just scrolling through Disney Plus. But that's the thing about streamers too. You're not just scrolling and stumbling anymore onto shows, which I think is tough. Like, because if we're going on the Star Wars finales, like Star Wars finales have actually been pretty good overall. I mean, Rick's Road and Andor is a masterpiece. I mean, that clip of Marva Andor giving the speech was around the internet a lot today, for some reason. And then like Siege of Mandalore, obviously unbelievable. The Acolyte finale, I think, was its strongest episode. Plagueis showing up was amazing. The season 2 finale of Mandalorian with Luke coming in, like they've really nailed a lot of finales going on. Like,
yeah, for sure.
What do you think it is about, even if for shows that aren't the best all the way through, what is it about a Star Wars finale that just gets us hyped? Like, what do they tap into in their finales like this?
The budget.
They saved.
All right, everybody, drive safe.
The majority of the money for the last episode. No,
I mean the last episode
you're
is often. Yeah, I mean they always kind of try to hit a home run. The last episode, they put more effort into it. It seems. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but like, and also because there's all these shows only have 8 episodes. There's too many strings that have to come together in the final episode too. So like, you get a lot of payoff. You get a lot of payoff, I think.
And the big cameos if they do that, because it's like then you just go out on that adrenaline high. But they didn't do that except for the Tantavias.
Now that I think about it, they didn't really explain the whole mystery of the planet. Actually, did they?
I don't know. They totally did.
Did they like why is it? The droid was like in charge of everything and tried to keep everybody safe, but like
that was it. It was like, we're going to shut down the planet because we need to keep people safe. And then that happened for so long. I think we don't know now whether it's Old Republic or High Republic. That being said, there was an interview on Collider. I didn't share this with you guys privately. Maggie Levitt did an interview at Collider with the creators John Watts and Chris Ford. And she asked them about like the great work that they talk about. She's like, was that Lena So's great works? And they did say, what did they say technically? They said, yes, we didn't want to make it so specific that it was tied into a time period like it had to be, but that is what we used as inspiration for that great work and the great work. So it's probably High Republic era, and it seemed like the droids programming just kind of shut down. Now, who created it? How long ago was it? You're totally right. We haven't seen how
did it get lost to the Republic in general? Like,
yeah,
lots of questions.
I think there's more to explore there, but maybe that would be their potential season 2.
I know. I wish that had been explored, but maybe it will one day. We'll see.
Maybe that's
I
the
doubt
pitch.
it.
Yeah,
I hope
maybe
it
that's
does,
the
but
pitch
I doubt
for
it.
season 2. Like we have so much to tell on the actual origin of the planet and where it's going. Like they're like, this story needs to be told.
Yeah,
maybe
let's
so.
have some fun with it.
Yeah.
All right, gut check before we move on here. The show is over. The series is complete. Freudian slip. The season is complete. Probably the series is complete. Where is this ranking in your Star Wars shows? Corey, I think I know yours. So
it's number 2.
Okay, number 2 under Andor.
Yep.
Wes,
Star Wars streaming shows over Mando, over Boba Fett, over Acolyte, Andor, all that.
Yeah.
Ahsoka. Oh wow, that's tough.
I know.
We've had a lot of Star Wars TV in 4 years.
The Kenobi show.
Yeah, Kenobi.
Yep.
Book of Boba Fett. How could you forget the Book of Boba Fett?
He said Boba Fett.
Did you?
I said Boba Fett.
How could you forget the Mandalorian novella?
I forgot.
2.5 or whatever it was.
That's how fast it left.
You said it.
My brain.
You forgot about it.
I will put this over Ahsoka. I will put this over the Acolyte. I will put this over Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah, you can split it around.
Okay. For sure. Yeah, that's what I'll put it. I'll put it number 3-ish, 4. 3 and 4. I like Mandalorian season 1. Definitely like Andor.
Yep.
So it's like between that and Yeah, we'll say number 3. We'll say between 3 and 4. I could give or take with Ahsoka too, because I like Ahsoka. It's a good show.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I will. I'm gonna be the same as Corey. I do Andor Skeleton Crew. I said a couple weeks ago that if it stayed on this trajectory, that it would stay, and it somehow only got better. Now, I truly don't understand a world where Mando doesn't, or Andor doesn't keep that top spot with season 2 based on everything it's going to be about. It seems like it's going to be an absolute masterpiece, but I think Skeleton Crew has easily earned that second spot. Absolutely freaking loved it, and I see in the chat we got some people agreeing. Anthony, you scamp talking about some Mandalorian season 3 stuff. If you know, you know. But before we go any further, we do want to say a quick thank you and let you know that this episode is brought to you by the United, the official Youtini community. Now, by joining the United, you'll not only receive ad-free shows and exclusive merch drops, you'll also get unlimited access to our Discord full of enthusiastic Star Wars fans that want nothing more than to welcome you. Filled with daily conversations, weekly polls, monthly events, the United is powered by a community of intentional positivity, and that makes it the best place for you to celebrate your fandom and engage with fans who love everything you do the way that you do. So, by heading to youtini.com/community, you can sign up for a whole year of the United and save 15% when you use code YOUTINISHOW. That's code YOUTINISHOW for 15% off your first year of the United. So, head on over now and get signed up to check out our amazing events and connect with your favorite podcast hosts. If they're not us, that's perfectly okay. But thank you again to everyone in our community for their incredible support. And now, let's go back to the show. But we are going to stay on Skeleton Crew for a second because, everyone, we got a few more reveals about the season after the finale aired, including 2 of our most pressing questions. Who was Jod's master? And what in the world is Neel if he's not an Ortolan? Well, regarding Jod, there's an Instagram post regarding a deleted scene that we'll get to in just a moment. But first, let's address Neel's species, which was confirmed in a Collider interview with the creators. Now, Wes, Neel is officially a Mikian, not to be confused with a Mikian, which I really hope I have pronounced differently for our listeners. What do you think about the choice to make Neel an entirely new species rather than just what we all assumed was Max Rebo's cousin?
I am all for more species within the Star Wars universe. I am not all for having them sound exactly the same. The Mikian and the Mikian. All right, and
what the heck is a Mikian also?
That's funny that you ask. So this
Do
is
it,
a
Yes.
Mikian, Mikkian. This is a Mikian, which is our friend Neel, and then this is Max Rebo. So we're gonna Max Rebo here. You're gonna look at Neel. Neel, and then there's Max Rebo. It's like they're definitely different species, boys. They're definitely different species. So again, all 4 new species, but come on, just change a couple letters. Call it I was gonna say a Wookiean, but that's not even. don't call it a Wookiean.
No,
but
so, yeah, because the Mikians. So that was what Wes was just showing for our audio listeners. That was the twins from the Clone Wars. That was Tipley and Tiplar. Who got killed by the clone in season 5 that had the whole Fives thing
chip,
going on.
Yeah, the chip went bad. Remember he killed the Jedi, and everyone's like, "Holy crap, he killed the Jedi!"
And they were Mikians, as opposed to Mikians, and also Zine from High Republic Adventures, who just got married. She is also a Mikian.
That's right.
But yeah, I was watching Alex Damon's video about this, and he was like, "You know what they did? Apparently, early on in the design process, they were just going to make him an Ortolan, and then they realized they needed him to have arms." And there's that whole, does Max Rebo have arms or not? And like, well, technically they're his feet. I think canonically he doesn't have arms.
I do think that would be a little tough to put that in some kind of a live action suit. Poor guy.
Fine. He's a okay. Myykkian. I think it's Mikian.
These are his feet. What the hell?
Max Rebo's feet. Yeah, you don't know the whole Max Rebo feet thing?
Okay, I see it. I see this. I see there's a Marvel comic that I don't know if it's real because it looks so unbelievably fake.
Oh no, the puppet was feet. That was the dumbest thing I've ever said out loud. The puppet was feet.
The photo that Wes just showed us, it looks like. Stop saying that. Look, those are shoulders, bro. You cannot tell me those are feet.
They're feet.
Those are feet.
They're feet.
Don't like that. This
Their
is
feet.
this is the Max Rebo OnlyFans right now.
That's it. Only feet, if you will.
Only feet. Only feet.
Um,
Yeah, don't like that.
But yeah, Neel, and now according to Wikipedia, this is the first ever canonical appearance or alleged appearance of the Mikian, their brand new species. Now, I think they might be able to spin this a little bit if they want, because obviously we saw a lot of aliens in Skeleton Crew. That's one of the coolest things about it. You know, there's the Ithorians and all these guys and the Shistavanans. But I think because Ad-Aden has been like separated for at least a while, do you think like these might be like the natives of Ad-Aden? Like, would you do that if you were Lucasfilm? Be like, oh yeah, they're only on Ad-Aden, and then it got cut off from the galaxy.
Yeah, but that's like one of those things where someone asks on Reddit. You see this happen occasionally, where it's like, so why does Obi-Wan Kenobi look so old in Episode 4, but Ewan McGregor looks so good in Episode 3? And the top comment is always, "Bro, it's a movie."
Because they're actually different people.
Yeah, it's like, what's the canonical reason for bro? It's a TV
Alec
show.
Guinness wasn't even that old. He just looks old.
He looks like 100 years
Poor
old.
guy.
You guys seen high school photos from the 20s? Those guys are 48.
I know.
Okay?
That's
Like,
true. That's true.
Time was different. Like, why did Luke kiss his sister? Well, didn't he know? It's like, nope, George hadn't thought of it yet. That's the answer.
That's the answer. And,
back in the 70s, if you were a 20-year-old with a mustache, you look like you're 40. So
I know,
like
100%.
a lot of the baseball players, like when you look at old
baseball
cards,
baseball players.
look at old baseball cards, you're just like, this guy, and they'll say like, this guy was 25 years old and he looks like he's 40 and was smoking his entire life, but just had a mustache and long
you
hair.
mean old Fingers Jackson? Oh yeah. Oh my God, hold on. Thank you. He's got a $10 super chat from Michael Fry. His
super
monthly
chat.
installment for Max Rebo's OnlyFans subscription. Thanks, Michael. It'll go right there.
Fellas,
It'll
I
go
think
right there.
we have clearly miscommunicated something about this live stream. YouTube is going to shut us down any moment now.
Oh man. Well, I will say, I think based on the popularity of Neel in the show, I think we're going to be seeing Mikians and a lot more stuff. Comics, absolutely. They're going to throw them in the background to everything now. So we'll see. But as you said, that wasn't the only reveal we got. Over on, again, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere, there's an actress named Yasmin El Masri posted a picture of herself in Jedi robes. And sure, people do it all the time, but she's an actress. And she posted that these are actually official costumes of Skeleton Crew. And that she had filmed that she stole. She did not, I don't think. Honestly, I would, though. If I was on set, I absolutely would.
I don't know where those go.
She said she actually filmed a scene that was cut from the Skeleton Crew finale, which would have made her the first female Arab Jedi, which is, one, awesome that she would have happened. She was super graceful about the whole thing. She totally gets how cuts happen. I guess just basically then we could say, now that we know she did this, why do we think they cut the flashback? Personally, I agree. I think it was the right choice to cut it. The creators had some ideas, but just from your guys' gut reactions, why do you think there wasn't room for a flashback? Especially the Star Wars shows, they love a flashback. They love an Order 66
That's
flashback.
a good question.
Like
that monologue by Jude Law in that scene wouldn't have worked well with the flashback because it made it made it more raw and uncaring that we didn't get to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like she was cut down right in front of me and I had to watch, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like he's just we don't relive it, we don't show it, we don't cry about it. It's just this horrible thing happened.
Let your imagination run wild.
Yeah, it makes it more powerful. We get to be the kids in the scene who he's explaining that to.
Exactly it. Christopher Ford actually said that. Now the answer, guys. We answered the question. Now here's the answer to the test. In an interview, Christopher Ford did say why they cut that. He said, quote, "We always wanted to keep the show from the kids' perspective. They've never been out in the galaxy and met someone as damaged as him, so I don't think we could have done a flashback in the season. Like, this is about the kids. We don't care about what's going on in Jude's mind, or Jude Jodwood, as I'll call him now.
Jude Jodwood.
Jude Jodwood. It's not
Jude
about him. It's not about his
Lawwood.
story.
Jude No Law
Where's
would.
that been for the last 8
Jude
weeks?
No Law would.
No
I
Law would.
I don't know. I don't know. I just came up with
Dude,
that.
No Law would.
Also, I would like to point out that I did not see this bullet point in the notes that just explained that
you
also
didn't.
that came from the heart.
See, everyone, when you work with Corey for so many years, you know he doesn't read the outlines, so you get to put
That's true.
surprises in there, and it's a really good time.
It happens to the best of us.
That is correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad they cut it. I'm always happy to see more Order 66. Frankly, I never get tired of seeing that from new angles and new scenes. But I think it makes sense that
it also gives them leeway to put it in as like bonus content on Disney Plus. You know, they could add deleted scenes. Why not?
That's
That
never,
would be
that's-
awesome. I mean,
that's
you
never
want
gonna
the
happen.
Shut up,
But
Corey.
maybe
God, you like the. you always gotta bring it. They can put bonus content on there, right? They can do it. Just say yes. They can do it. You're correct, Wes.
Yes,
Give them
they
a moment,
can.
for pity's sake.
Yes, they can.
Yes.
By midnight,
Yes, they can. You can do it. Come on, Disney. You can do it.
I'll take my.
That's
Think
all
of
we
the
asking
cash.
for.
Think of the subscribers.
Think of
Yeah.
Jude No Lawwood, guys.
Jude and the Lawwood. That's really hard to say. That's why we haven't
is.
said it this whole time. Yeah.
That's exactly it. Now,
Yes.
would you put this in season 2 though?
Oh yeah.
the
for sure.
opening of season 2. Ooh, that would be neat.
Ooh, that would be cool. Or do that like
Oh, that would
one-shot
be good.
comic that they immediately write over and don't care about in canon afterwards. They could do
God.
Do
They
it both.
could. They could do that, I suppose.
Put it in
Yeah.
Fortnite.
I think it's possible.
Shut up, Wes. No,
Wait,
you're
we
off the
have to-
show.
you
You're
have
off the
to-
show, actually.
you have to
know
say
what? You're
it once
done.
every
That was it.
episode. You have to say it once an episode.
That was it. Well, I
Oh,
hope we get her
man.
story if nothing else. I hope that whenever they do put that character in something, I hope they keep her in there or her character's name or whatever it was, because they clearly already written it. So like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned, it was Alex as well. I watched his go watch his Skeleton Career Answers Questions Answered video, which is much more research than anything we do. He said something like, it would be cool if she got the Genevieve O'Reilly treatment, where Genevieve O'Reilly was in all those deleted scenes in Revenge of the Sith, and they cut basically all of them, and then they gave her Andor and Rogue One.
Oh.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm excited.
We would. Well, now that Skeleton Crew is over. Sorry, fellas. It is over. We
sad.
do not have a new show for a really, really long time. It's going to be so long until we get a new show. We're going to have to wait all the way until April, actually. And that means in this huge gap of time between now and April, we have to fill our time with speculation. Last week, a rumor about the Mandalorian and Grogu's main villain started spreading through the fandom, and it seemed to get our attention and gain quite a bit of traction. So we thought we may as well ask the question here and put it on the docket to discuss. Eric, what do you think about the possibility of the Mandalorian and Grogu possibly going up against the legendary villain of Embo? First of all, who the heck is Embo? Do you know who even that is? And there is no way this is real. Please tell me this is not real.
Corey, what is this movie gonna be?
I don't know what this movie is.
I don't think so.
I have no idea what this movie is. My favorite. I still have to give Oz the credit, because my favorite thing that has ever happened is he said on our team chat, he said, every single time I learn a detail about that movie, it's that meme of the really angry guy, and he was like, okay, I guess. I guess. That's how I feel about everything, because like this feels like a meme. This whole movie feels like a meme, and I'm sure it's gonna be good. I'm sure it's gonna be perfectly fine. But like the fact that we keep learning these little very odd details, like Stinky the Hut and now Embo.
We know 5 things about this movie, and 2 of them are Stinky the Hut and Embo.
I know.
This is 40% of what we know
I
about this
know.
film. So Embo, for those of you that may not remember, is this character we have on the screen here. He's the bounty hunter with the big hat in Clone Wars that he uses like as a sled and a weapon.
And a Captain America shield and Captain America
Yeah.
boomerang, and
It's
then
really
he puts it on his
cool.
head. Can you imagine Captain America putting the shield on his head, and that's where he like holds it instead of on his arm?
So much better. That's a Marvel rival skin right there.
It is. Yeah.
So it's insane. It's insane to bring Embo as the main villain. This was reported, I believe, by Christian Harloff and Bestman Bulletin, a couple people. So we don't know.
It's
It might not
relatively
happen.
That's relatively credible.
Yeah.
Not like
There's
like
conversations probably.
yeah,
at
for sure.
minimum.
For sure. And also, to be clear, I'm not like crapping on the idea. It's Imbo.
No,
it's just an insane idea. It's just an insane idea.
I like him.
I like him fine. I wouldn't think that he's like, main villain quality, right?
No.
But like,
he does a lot of cool things with his hat helmet. Give him that.
He does.
He
does.
He's Kung Lao from Mortal Kombat 2. He is.
Yes. Good. Good.
He is.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. He is. Sorry. Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation when he's trying to go down the hill in his sled. That's who he is. That's what that hat is.
When he puts the industrial level Crisco on the underside of the sled. That's what Imba's going to do that in this movie. That's how he's going to escape at the very end.
He's done it in Clone Wars, is he not? But he wrote it on his feet.
No, he did.
Yeah.
There's two things about this. The first thing that hits me with this is Embo is a bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a chance this could be a little bit of a reset back to the season 1 vibes of bounty hunting, which were so fun. That's cool.
I dig, to be clear, totally dig.
Like the pucks.
The second thing, though, is something that Skywalker's Academy just said in the chat. This is the return to theaters for Star Wars. This is like the movie that's going to restart Star Wars for movie-going fans. There are people that haven't seen anything on Disney+. There are people that have just seen the Skywalker saga, maybe Rogue One and Solo, and your number one, it's been it'll be 7 years by the time this comes out since Rise of Skywalker. Oh my gosh, it's been so long, and long have I waited. And you're bringing Stinky and Embo?
This has to be a troll. This can't be
It's
real.
not real. It's not
can't
real.
be real.
Please tell me
Yeah.
it's not real.
It's not real.
It's not
It
real.
can't be real.
When I saw, I remember the rumors that came out about the Rise of Skywalker, which I famously got spoiled for me in our freaking Discord back when we just let anybody join. And that was the lesson where we learned that like we have to lock the Discord during big events because the trolls come in and will ruin everyone's
that was
day.
A horrible night. Multiple people doing full spoilers in every
It
channel.
sucked,
that night.
man. It was so bad. And I remember all the rumors that came out and people were talking about how Kylo Ren falls in a hole, the Emperor's back. Like when you put it like that, it sounds really terrible. Really, really terrible. That's the whole movie. Kylo Ren falls in a hole at the end. That's how they kill him off. And it's like,
yeah.
Okay, but that did happen. He did fall in a hole.
That is
but when you hear
blocking.
it like that, yes. Now, if the rumor was that, the word on the street is that Embo is in this movie, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty cool. I like it. I dig the bounty hunters. But no, the rumor is that he's the main villain, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
But if it's like, hey, the Empire or the Remnant found out that Grogu's here, Thrawn has put out a bounty on Grogu, and Thrawn needs him back, and he has hired the head of those bounty hunters to get Grogu back is Embo. Maybe that's it. It's like, oh, okay. Well, or maybe like Rod of the Hutt has hired Embo to get
Who else
him
is
to
still
help the bigger thing.
Thrawny says in the chat too that the average moviegoer is not going to have any idea who the heck this is. They won't have nearly as visceral as a reaction.
Yeah, they'll just be
cool choose a word.
With big hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
what other bounty hunters are around during this time period though? Because like,
Cad
not
Bane.
many.
I mean,
Boba
Boba.
is dead.
Cad Bane's dead.
He's dead in
Cad Bane's
Book of
dead,
Boba
yeah.
Fett, right? Okay.
Yeah, he's dead in Book of
I
Boba
mean,
Fett. Which
Boba
is a
Fett's
choice.
around.
Boba's
Yeah,
fine,
technically, but
But
he's
I don't
like
think
he's
he'll be in
like
Dave's movie.
he's on our team now though. You know what I mean? Like he's like
Yeah.
he's out of
Him and Cobb
retirement
Vanth.
and hiring biker kids on their scooters. He's hiring those kids.
Yeah.
What
I
about
think
all
they
the
might be
Dengar?
all the guys from Empire Strikes Back?
Yeah,
Right?
Forlom and
that-
Zuckus are around.
Yeah.
Are they? I thought they got killed in the Bounty Hunter comic. Bounty Hunters? I think they did. Didn't Zuckus and Forlom get killed in?
No,
I read that
they're
comic
They're in
recently.
the Ewoks comic.
Are they? Maybe they didn't get
Yeah.
killed. Maybe they just got ripped to shreds and they were still alive because you can do that in comic books.
Yeah, we're gonna.
IG-88, is he still around? Or is he dead?
Or is he a Death Star?
That would be a fun bring back. They're like, droid, you've returned, and they're like, I am someone else. That'd be great, Looks
Oh my
exactly
God,
the
yeah,
same,
well-
except he's somebody different.
He thinks they're all the same. He's like, I told you I hate droids.
Yeah.
I know.
Has a red
No, I think
arm.
there's some cool original ones. I think that if Embo's the leader and he has like a new gang, again, just make it grand. I think that's the key. If you're doing Mandalorian and Grogu as this big, huge welcome back blockbuster, and we've seen like Zeb's gonna be in it, and there's gonna be some AT-ATs and there like walkers and like all this stuff.
How do we
Embo's really chasing
how do we
them across the
possibly do it?
galaxy.
How do you possibly do it and keep the stakes high?
Yeah.
I would argue that I loved Solo. I would argue that the stakes weren't high enough in Solo, which is why it didn't perform as well. Maybe
My
people didn't
beloved.
care about as much, right?
Yeah.
You could say the same about Rogue One, and Rogue One maybe picks the most the biggest stakes that exist in Star Wars, other than
Yeah,
like
right.
the Jedi, which is like the Death Star and
Yeah.
everything leading up to the original trilogy. But how can you possibly keep the stakes high enough for Mandalorian and Grogu to make this pay off? I don't know. This is a tough ask. Dave Filoni's
is.
got a really hard job, honestly. To make this
Favreau,
work.
Filoni doing this one.
Well, there's got to be
That's
somebody.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. That's
all
right.
Johnny.
He'll be involved. He'll be a producer. Filoni will be a producer.
Yeah,
sure.
he'll produce. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think John's writing this one solo, at least from
Yeah.
what I heard.
They got to make it
According to our
apparent that
roundup.
somebody's pulling the
right.
pulling the strings of the bounty hunters, though, right? There's somebody that they're answering to. So
It's
gonna
it's Imbo.
It's
Yeah.
not Imbo. Imbo's
It's
answering
Frisbee
somebody
Hat Man.
else.
It's Frisbee Hat Man.
Frisbee Hat Man.
Although
Well,
in reality, the helmet is got to be based off of those samurai hats, which
Oh
I am
yeah,
showing how wide I am by not knowing what they're called. But you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
the old
I played
samurai
Ghost
movies.
of Tsushima. Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah. So I think those would be. He could be a very solid ad, and I think also one of the other rumors that was going around related to this was the success of this film is kind of directly tied to Dave's film. And this is not even so much a rumor as I think this is just how business works. If this works as a film, then they will then do Dave's film. If it doesn't work at all, they might take that and make it like a maxi series, like what they did with the Defenders in Marvel, where they brought Daredevil and Iron Fist together and stuff,
Maybe.
and they might do it as a show instead.
But then where do we go from there? I just don't. I'm so unsure of
don't know.
what the future of
Just have a
Star
plan.
Wars is.
Just
It
have a
just
plan.
they do have a plan. The plan
They
is
do.
let's see how this next project works, and then we're going to use that to decide the plan. But then the next project's over, and they're like, I don't know if it worked. Let's try this next project. When that one's done, we're going to use that to make the plan. It's not working. It's not working.
Watch.
Celebration is going to be the tell-all. We're going to see
Dude,
in April in Japan.
this
We're going to
movie's-
find out what the plan is.
This movie's gonna come out. It's gonna have a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's gonna make $2.5 billion, and we're gonna be like, how did they make that out of just TV shows? This is
I hope so.
Embo
I
is
hope
a
so.
better villain than Darth Maul. It's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
see it
just
5
unbelievable.
times, regardless how amazing it is. Oh, Bosk is still alive. Throwing his head. That's a good one.
Oh yeah, Bosk is good.
Man, he would be
Yeah,
a good
so-
villain. I'm down for that, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe Imbo and Bosk, they can team up
Oh,
and be the
yeah.
bad guys.
And Bosk?
Oh, okay.
Their
Bosk.
celebrity couple name. Yeah.
Yes.
This will be the star of Celebration. I think we'll get some info, but this is really going to be, hey, Star Wars is back next year, especially if they're like, we want to see some footage. This is going to be the big hitter. But we'll keep you all posted on that. And again, as Corey was saying, we did a Skeleton Crew roundup. We're also finishing up a roundup all about Mandalorian and Grogu on the site, which will be updated every single time we get news about that particular project. And finally, though, tonight, we got to tell you that friend of the show, Cavan Scott, sat down with comicbook.com earlier this week to chat about his upcoming High Republic. Remember the High Republic? Miniseries Fear of the Jedi. And he confirmed quite a few things that we've actually been wondering about. Now, not only did Cavan verify in this interview that Phase 3, which is going on right now, will in fact conclude the giant story that they began working on back in 2018, but this particular miniseries was finally going to show us how Keeve becomes the Lost Master Trennis from Dooku Jedi Lost. Now, Wes, that audio drama was one of your favorites back in the day because it has your boy Sifo-Dyas. Everyone that doesn't know, Wes is the Sifo-Dyas fan, probably in the world, to be honest. But how stoked are you that we'll finally be getting an answer about this whole Keeve Trennis thing, which has been literally hanging over our heads since 2021?
I will take it. Yes, I do like Dooku Jedi Lost. It's a fantastic audiobook. So like within Dooku Jedi Lost, he sends Asajj to go rescue his sister, even though he probably could have done it himself. But I think, was it Asajj or was it Dooku that came across the statue of Keeve Trennis and basically got
You're
him
already past me, brother.
Yeah, got him thinking about, like, should I leave the order? I mean, these 20 left the
Gotta be
order. What was their
Dooku,
reasoning to do
surely.
it? So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, any kind of... There was a lot of things in Dooku Jedi. A lot of things. There's two things. There's Keep Trinus, like... And then there was, what the hell is going on with Sifo Dyas? Give me more. Like, why were his headaches so bad? I mean, that's really what the book should have been about. Is just they should have just tangented off to Sifo Dyas and then didn't worry about Asajj Ventress or Dooku Jedi Lost.
Nope.
So anyway,
What about Keep
no, I
Trinus,
think it's a
Wes?
good idea.
Why won't they tell us about the headaches?
Okay,
My fault, everybody. My fault.
I'm very stoked that we'll finally get an answer about Keep Trinus.
That is good. To be clear, Dooku Jedi Lost, if you guys haven't listened to it in a while or listened to it at all, there are just the amount of references they've made, and then a lot of the guys in the Cosmic Force will know way more about that than us off the top of their heads. But Cavan just sprinkled in a bunch of stuff. But the fact that Keep Trinus was going to be a Lost Jedi Master has been known since the beginning. And a lot of people online were very happy that he, word for word, confirmed that they were going to tell us why in this book. Usually they're kind of cagey about that stuff. Like, I don't know. But he was literally like, this series will tell you these like 6 issues, I think, too. It's pretty short. Like, why she becomes the Lost Master Trinus. And I think, as far as the High Republic goes, that's one of the bigger promises we've got, kind of bluntly, in this initiative.
It is.
Since the beginning, really, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I'm excited about it. The comics have continuously been good. Key has obviously been such a mainstay since they started, and she's kind of Cavan's favorite.
Right.
But also, he mentioned, something that we thought about. But he said, yeah, this is the end of the story that we all came up with. Justina Ireland a while ago said that it was her last Star Wars book coming out was The Acolyte Wayseeker, and Cavan's, not listed for anything after this. Charles Soule's doing Legacy of Vader comic, but no other High Republic. And I mean, this is...
I'm just really glad that we're going
era.
to get to explore this era so thoroughly in Star Wars Eclipse when it comes out. It's
Not
going to
canceled
be
yet.
a great
canceled
Star Wars
yet.
game.
Damn it.
It's going to come out, and we're just going to really get to
That
explore.
trailer's so good.
I know it is. But it's a lie. It's a lie. It's a pyramid scheme, Eric. It is, unfortunately.
They did tell us that they were going to be 3 phases, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah, they said this was it.
They didn't
And then-
continue with it. So
No, and when they say, like, the era is obviously now open, like any era is, but this is, speaking of Skeleton Crew being an ending, this is an ending.
Before they started, they had a beginning and an ending, like Andor.
This is it.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
okay.
What are you guys
There's not a
feeling?
lot of I don't know how much room there is to explore too either in this era because we had so much comprehensive content, right? Like
So much.
I mean, I guess we could have some like smaller stories that just kind of take place in the era that could work, I suppose.
There's like
but,
some
like,
decades here and there you can jump into.
yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
but-
It's not like you could really, pick a new big bad necessarily. I mean, the Sith can't suddenly show up or anything like that, right? That would be
especially with
sort
phase
of
2.
odd, so-
It's like 382 BBY, I think, and then it's up to like 232 BBY, and it's going to end around 229. So there's like 150, 160 years.
Yeah, that's a long
where
time.
it's like
That is
the
long.
Nameless and the Jedi. Like that's.
I know. That's the thing. I know. Yeah. So
And
it's hard
they
to.
have an ending.
That's right. Yeah, crazy to think about. I have no idea where they're going to go next. I have no idea if they'll ever do anything like this again. I know it is the biggest now. It is now the biggest like literature project that has ever happened in the history of Star Wars. So like,
Yes.
I just don't see, I don't see how they can just repeat this again. I have no idea. It was such a monumental effort, and I don't know. I want to know if it paid off. I would love to be in the room where it happened, if you will.
Yeah.
Right? I saw Hamilton in
you did.
in person last week, 2 weeks ago. It was amazing. I would love to be in the room where it happened, to hear the creators talk about, I don't know. Does it work? Did it not work? What the numbers say? Like, where are we going next? Are you going to try this again? What's the new strat when it comes to God?
What's the meta of
projects
Star
like
Wars
that.
publishing?
I mean,
I want to know.
because
Well,
it
it's gonna be
happened because it happened so early on in the Jedi, but according to like the movies and everything, they can sprinkle in little details in new works, because I'm assuming
right,
most of the new movies and TV shows are coming after this, so they can say like the remnants of the Nameless here. They put like a picture on the wall of something that like looks like something from the High Republic. So
Yeah.
They could go out.
Oh, it's here now.
They could
Yeah.
do as
I like
much or as little as they want, but they still have
That's
that
true.
piece where they could do it.
Right. And it all exists, and that time period exists. We have lots of references now. We have masters we can talk about. I like that, like even the reference in Skeleton Crew that possibly like the great works. Like I love that. It's now like real Star Wars history. It makes it cool. So I'm really down for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird that like seeing the solicits is gonna be the weird part for me, weirdly enough, because like our comic guys obviously do this every single week, but we pay attention to like what's coming out, and we keep track of the active series. There has been a either High Republic mainline, High Republic Adventures, the Dark Horse spinoffs for going on 5 years now, and now there's not going to be a mainline High Republic book. There's not going to be a phase coming up. It's just going to be, the Reign of the Empire is a trilogy that's starting, sure, but does it just go all tie-in? Do we get just books around the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Did Dawn of the Jedi get its own books? Does the Rey movie get its own books? Is that the next?
Yes.
What's the next? Well, yes, of course. I guess what's the next strategy is going to be interesting. And I will say, I'm glad these writers are getting to rest. I've enjoyed their work so much.
They do seem tired.
I cannot believe how exhausting
they seem tired.
this whole thing has been, man.
Yeah. Massive. It's been a big moment for the Star Wars fandom for sure.
Yeah. To be around during it was, we saw it.
I know.
I remember the night that they announced it, all of us in Slack together, realizing the press event and being like, what's Project Luminous? I mean,
I know.
It's like almost 10:30 took them forever to tell us. But that's okay.
It did. Yeah. Yeah. It's been a crazy journey. It's gonna be really cool. We can really look back on this and say it's all finished and really analyze like what it all happened. And we're really building a lot of content on the site too to like help people navigate this, because people are going to come back to this a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a kind of a new big resurgence of it, like when it's done. We can say, all right, the High Republic is done. You can now binge it if you want.
Yeah. Like
it's only like
it's
only 1,000 hours of content. But yeah, you can binge it if you want. It's like, it'll take you longer to read it, all the High Republic, than it would to watch One Piece from the beginning. But
but you
do you, bro, right?
Yeah.
Here's the way to do it. So yeah.
It's exciting. And of course, that's we'll get some Seventh Celebration too. They'll be teasing. Some of the books will come out by then. Some of the books won't. And again, once it's all done, we'll see. If you didn't see Cavan's full interview, head over to the site. We put up a little write-up out there with a link to the full piece. And I'm sure we'll be chatting with a lot of the authors as it ends too. So keep your eyes peeled, everybody. And I mean, it seems like we're saying it weekly at this point on the show, because we are. Celebration's going to hold a lot. There's a lot riding on this celebration for the future of Star Wars, and I think we got a lot of awesome stuff coming our way.
Agreed. 100%.
That'd be cool. And of course, we will bring it to you all the time, every single week, but no more tonight. Because everybody, that is going to do it for this week's episode of The Youtini Show. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in, and a special thank you to everyone in our community, including Brian Dooley, Carl Sander, Anthony Shulo, James Taylor, and Michael Fry on our High Council for their amazing support. We will be back every single Monday night live on YouTube at 8 p.m. to tell you all things that are going on in Star Wars. And be sure to check out our website, youtini.com, and follow us on all of our socials to keep up to date with everything going on in the Star Wars universe. Until next time, it's been a blast. We'll see you next Monday. And as always, may the Force be with you.